So we have some rumors on pricing with AMD's newest 16-core, very well named Threadripper model. So stay tuned. Welcome back to GamerMeld. I know this is a little old, but I've been sitting on it and really just contemplating the report just because I'm not sure of its validity, but plenty of people have wanted to know my thoughts and mentioned it both in the comments and on Discord. Speaking of, make sure to check out the GamerMeld Discord. It's in the description. We have some really awesome discussions in there, so definitely make sure to check that out. Either way, let's discuss this. The one thing I really like to do when I'm looking these up is to head over to the original source. It's really the only way to find out their original source and really just to get the correct information out of it. Sometimes that can be tricky. For example, if you start at Tech Power Up, they send you over to eTechnics. Then eTechnics sends you over to WCCF Tech. Then you click on WCCF Tech and you realize it came from a tweet by Bits and Chips. Now, Bits and Chips has supposedly been pretty accurate in the past, but either way, the tweet says, what about the entry-level 16-core 32-thread Threadripper at $849? That's pretty insane, considering Intel's 16-core will be $1,700. Now, it is the entry-level 16-core, which means non-XFR, but if the pass is any indication, and it should be, considering how the architecture is, it should be able to manually overclock right near where the XFR model can. That means we could be talking a 16-core chip right around 4 GHz. That's insane. All with more PCI Express lanes than Intel. And you may be thinking, oh, PCI Express lanes, I mean, you don't need 64, but people that are buying this chip probably do want to use a good bit. You have to remember that M.2 can now use it. There's quite a few things that run off PCI Express lanes. And they do all this right at half the price. And see, if this pricing is true, which I really don't know if it is, but even if it's $1,000, $1,200, Intel doesn't really stand a chance until Coffee Lake. And that's been moved back to 2018, and it probably won't even be able to compete then since it's based on the 14nm process, and while it's rumored they'll be upping core count, Zen 2 should be here by then in Pinnacle Ridge. Really, how AMD was even able to get these at current pricing on the same nanometer technology is beyond me. It's funny because if you remember back when Ryzen was originally announced, there was at least a supposed letter from Intel that went out to the press saying to hold off on reviews, to wait and see what they have coming, and it's funny because they don't really have much. The closest thing is the 8-core, but that purely depends on the IPC and how high the chip overclocks as to whether it's worth it. Of course, the Ryzen 1700 is literally half the price and nearly capable of overclocking to the 1800X, so the likelihood of the IPC and overclocking justifying the price is nearly non-existent. Unless, of course, it's able to manage a nice boost in gaming performance, which might be possible, but that's really the only place I see it. I mean, it's somewhat baffling because sure, they came down a little, which I commend, but they clearly aren't taking AMD all that seriously, and I think it's a mistake. The announcement of the 18-core, just to say, hey, we've got something better, would have been worthwhile had it not been too grand. Then you look at the 4-core 4-thread and 4-core 8-thread CPUs, which are practically useless because they barely have any higher clock, yet are literally gimped compared to the consumer line. What the hell? And I've seen Jay's 2 cents discussion on it, but the one thing I don't think he went far enough on was the entire reasoning for them. They want to say, oh, well, you'll just upgrade later. The thing is, he was absolutely right when he stated you want to get the best that you can afford up front. Simply put, it's a complete waste of money to buy it and buy something else later. Just save up a little more and get what you want shortly. But it even goes deeper than that. The average consumer isn't going to buy an entire new system and turn around and buy another CPU 3 months later. It took a little while to feel comfortable dropping that kind of money in the first place. And by the time they're ready to buy a new CPU, it's been over a year and the new platform is out. So at least for a CPU, you've got to do it all over again. Now, I know what some people are probably thinking, oh, well, this is the enthusiast line. It's the enthusiast line, GamerMeld. I understand that. They're going to be spending a good bit of money up front. Well, then they aren't going to want the 4-core 4-thread or 4-core 8-thread. It's simply poor logic by Intel. Had they given it something over the consumer version, sure, but 4 cores and 4 threads is just... I'm surprised they didn't put 2 cores and 4 threads on there. I don't know. Now, there are those that are touting the end of Intel. It's not. At least not this one thing. This is the reason businesses diversify. They can't always be on top in literally every market they enter, so they enter a ton of them. Intel certainly has their hand in quite a few markets, and really you don't want them to fail because AMD becomes the new top dog with no competition. Here's the thing. Market pricing is determined by you and me. It's what we're willing to pay. So if there's zero competition, they can raise the price, but they can never raise it beyond the value they've given or consumers find it's worth. Of course, supply is another one, research and development, etc., but no competition means no reason to innovate and leads to stagnation. If you're on the top of the world and still rising, why do anything more? I wouldn't, you wouldn't, but that's kind of the beauty of it, isn't it? You get too complacent, and someone who doesn't have it right now but really wants to be on the top just might come along and do what you refused. And AMD wants money just like anyone else, but that's the thing. They can only make money by providing value. They did, and Intel was clearly caught with their pants down. Also, don't get me wrong, we truly are getting close to the end of transistor shrinkage, as well as other issues that come into play, and Intel certainly can't do magic, but there are other technologies to look at, and Intel has even stated future CPUs not only wouldn't get faster, but may even get slower yet more efficient for a while. Let's just see if that actually happens now that AMD is pushing back. Innovation occurs when things are on the line, and right now, Intel has got some serious things on the line. So while I know that was kind of a little bit of a different video than usual, what do you think? Was Intel caught with their pants down? Or are you willing to spend a good bit more for a little higher performance? Let me know in the comments below. That does it for now. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe by clicking on the round icon in the middle. You can check out the most recent video and suggest a video to the left. Thanks so much for coming, and as always, have a great day.